Are you ready?
Sunday school, and to our listening ears, old angel sings and round us rings the music of the spheres. This is Penn Sunday School.
Brothers, sisters, siblings, welcome to Penn Sunday School starring Penn Gillette. My name is Mike. You know Matt, Freddie Rich, Penn and I are broadcasting from our separate homes in Las Vegas. This will be part 2 of our talk with the fantastically funny comedian, actor, and writer Judy Gold. We'll be talking a little bit more about her book and some other stuff. Here he is preaching love, Mr. Penn Gillette.
Now, Judy, I want to leave the solution to the free speech thing toward the end of the show. That's a teaser. So you're living in Provincetown now?
I am. So I have a house here. I've had it since '94, and I left New York in March. Because I was not going to be quarantined with my kids with one bathroom. So I've been here and it's been great. I mean, I've been back to New York and I had to do the audiobook and I went back twice. But it's, you're from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cape, I'm at the tip of the Cape. Thank God there's outdoor. I mean, I would have been stuck in my apartment. I can hike, I can go to I can go swimming in the ocean.
And you're being very, very careful.
Everyone is really careful here because we went through the AIDS crisis. And I think that there's a lot of HIV positive people here. And, there's a mask ambassador who walks down the street. It is required that you wear a mask. A lot of the stores have gloves, plastic gloves right outside.
But a Mardi Gras mask is also allowed, right? Just over the eyes if you're flamboyant enough.
Yes, exactly. Because I feel like the Lone Ranger. But it's interesting because all the theme weeks, Provincetown has theme weeks. So it'll be like, Bear Week. And then, which is the big bear guys, hairy.
I'm aware of that.
The circuit, the deaf lesbian, whatever. And now those were all canceled. So there's a new group that comes, a lot of day trippers, some Trump supporters. It's very interesting because this was like a safe haven for artists and writers and free thinkers. And
what is drawing the Trump supporter?
Well, first of all, we wanted equality. So, it used to be in the 80s or 70s, 80s, 90s, and someone said, "Oh, where are you going on vacation?" And you said Provincetown. That was like coming out of the closet.
Right.
Some people would say North Truro just to not come out of the closet. But I think they have there's no theme week, so things are open. Bed and breakfasts and that kind of thing. I think that our equality and I can go there now. But there's no reverence.
That's kind of wonderful. That's kind of wonderful. Yeah. And I saw on your website, are you doing shows?
Yes, Mondays and Wednesdays outside. The audience is 25 feet away from me. They're all 6 feet apart. Groups, the group, if you have 2 or 4. We were allowed 100. Now it's down, the governor changed it to 50. So I'll be making half the money. But it's really, to be able to get on stage twice a week, I don't care. It sucks. There's weather, whatever. The sound sucks, but I don't care.
Yeah, we have a friend who ended up, someone who's here in Vegas who does 2 shows a day and hasn't. And he was in a situation where he did 1 show and could not stop crying. The emotion afterwards was so overwhelming. I have gone longer than I have in 53 years.
That's
without doing a show.
I was wondering that. Like, how do you feel like first I was in the very beginning when it first happened, I was like, oh, so, because I'm so like you eat dinner and then you go out to work. And I was like, oh, so we stay home now? Like, I really was. So what do you guys, you watch TV? Like, I really was. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay, I see how other people live. I get it. But, by 9:00, I was like, hey, anyone want something to eat? Hey, how you doing? But it is sad. It's sad. Do you feel like you're worried about when you're going to get back, that you're not going to be in shape for when you get back on stage?
That's not a worry. I think I'll be able. I think I'll be able to do it. I think you will too. Yeah.
But
the worry is that that there will be financial corporate pressure, not financial pressure on me, but financial pressure on others, to do shows before they are safe for our audience.
I agree.
And that, we were the first show to cancel in Vegas.
What date was that?
That was Saturday, the 14th of March.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else canceled Sunday or Monday. But I was reading a lot of stuff out of France and Spain and what they wish they'd done.
Right.
And we were, we'd sold 1,000 tickets and we were selling well. And I was saying, if it's a bad idea to do the show on Monday, it's a worse idea to do it on Saturday.
Right.
And I don't want to bring people in. I knew Teller and I would be safe.
Right.
We have written a show that is no audience participation. I am sure that tonight I can do a show completely safely, but I don't want to entice people to something that's dangerous.
Wait, so you care about other people?
I care about the press that killing other people would get me.
Yeah.
I'm very, very worried about that. It's really funny. You're probably doing the same thing, but we're booked solid and we just keep canceling.
Oh, right. Well, no, I got canceled. Everything got canceled, but I'm so glad I'm doing this. But now the Zoom stuff is coming in. So thank God. People need entertainment. I think that is one thing that's come out of this. Even the people that, all my shows here are sold out because people are dying to laugh. People leave and say, oh my God, I haven't seen a show since February, January.
And what material are you doing? You're doing all stuff related to the times, or are you doing some of your old stuff?
No, I do. I get so bored if I keep doing old shit. So I have a lot of stuff about, COVID. There's that. You can't joke about COVID. You can joke about COVID. Okay. There are jokes about COVID. Doesn't mean that 167,000 people didn't die. It doesn't make it worse. It doesn't do any, we're in the same boat. So it's sort of the perfect storm for stand up. And yet we can't work. So, you have to. It's the elephant in the room.
Of course, yeah. That being said, I probably wouldn't. We pride ourselves at people being able to come to our show and not even know there were two genders on the planet.
Right.
And not know anything in the news. There's an occasional reference, but very rarely.
Right.
I want to be in a different, by the way, I just before we got into lockdown, I had just finished changing all the pronouns in our show, which very difficult.
Oh, I have a bit about that. Yes.
Because certain stuff, rhythmically.
Right.
And also the fact that I'm uneducated.
Right.
Did not do well in high school and no college.
Well, you are one of the dumbest people I've ever met.
I am.
That's true.
So I become very uncomfortable with grammar things. So using the plural for the singular made me very uncomfortable. And then I just said, well, that's just because you're old. That's no longer true. By the way, it wasn't true in Shakespeare's time. Shut the fuck up.
Right.
So it's a false rule that you read in some book when you were 17 and was not true then and is not true now. So I went through and it's really nice because, first of all, it becomes invisible and no one's uncomfortable on either side. Right. And it just makes our show so that issue doesn't come up. But also, and I must confess that I wanted to do it for cultural reasons. But also, there have been not many,
Right.
but 3 times maybe in the past 10 years that I'd miscalled someone's gender
Right.
when they were coming up to the stage. And I got to tell you, it hit me like a baseball bat in the
Right.
chest. Why the fuck am I part of this person being uncomfortable?
Right.
Why am I a bad memory they're going to have? I mean, maybe they think the magic show sucks. Maybe they think I'm not funny. Sorry, I have no control over that. But I have control over someone going home and went, you know, when he said he, I was just, God, fuck him.
Did you apologize? Did you apologize or?
I don't remember in every situation. I tried to play it the way I thought was the most compassionate.
You know, that's so interesting because I'm tall, and when I had short hair, and even today, you people don't look at my face. I get called sir. I used to get called sir all the time. I got called sir when I was 8 months pregnant at the bank, and I was like, "What do you think? I have a beer belly? What the fuck? Look at me!" And it feels so bad because. I feel bad and it's the other person's fault for not paying attention. And, but it stings.
Well, I will also tell you that every letter I got as a child was to Miss Penny Gillette. And in gym class, every day the first rolls were called out. It would be, did we miss anybody? Yes, you missed me. What's your name? Penn Gillette. Oh, you're in the girls' class. Ha, 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 ha. Also, when I had hair just like yours,
yeah,
you and I could cosplay each other.
Right.
That's trivial. That was really trivial for us. Because
your
what
hair
are you,
looks great like that.
6'3"? Is that what you are? 6'3"?
I shrunk. I'm 6'2". Have you shrunk?
I think so.
Yeah.
I was 6'7", but I'm probably 6'6" now.
So my younger son Ben is 6'8". How about you? How about your?
My son is 14 and just knocking on 6'3".
Wow, good.
So he will be, and I'm going to try to give him the speech. Your dad and your cousins and your grandparents all hated basketball. But as we got older, we realized, son, that we all really like money.
Right.
So jump, motherfucker, jump. But he has the exact interest in sports that I have.
Right.
He doesn't know what end of the hoop to blow into. No idea.
That's so fun. And my son plays D1 basketball. So it's like, yeah.
Where does he play?
Tulane.
Oh, wow.
He's a freshman. And it's hard work. It's a lot of hard work because believe me, he didn't get the jumping gene.
That's one of the reasons that I don't like sports is exactly what you described. Hard work.
Yeah. He loves it. He loves it. He loves it.
But 6'8", that's real basketball.
He's a small forward. He's a wing. He's a 3-point shooter. But, it's true. It's hard work, but he reminds me of me when I started out doing stand-up. It's like...
You did a lot of jumping, as I recall. A lot of jumping.
Yeah, I did. I jumped.
You said, if the ticks...
Working out at the gym. Yeah.
The tits aren't bouncing, I'm not working. Is that what you used to say?
Yeah. Hashtag me too, baby.
It was Judy Gold, we called you then.
Yeah, remember those days. And now it's Judy Jiggle Gold for another reason. Yeah.
So who is in your house with you now?
I'm alone right now, but Elisa, and that's it. Ben is college, and Henry is working as a PA at the Drew Barrymore show.
Oh, goodness.
She has a new show, the morning show, yeah.
Out in L.A.?
No, it's in New York. Because, women can only work daytime.
Sure.
I'm just feeling for your son right now. Smart enough to get a basketball ride to one of the biggest party schools in the nation, and now
Right.
COVID.
That's why he picked that one. But he's smart too. It's a good education, but he fucking loves it.
Yeah.
Loves it.
But there's not it to love, right? They're not doing basketball, are they?
They are. He's been there since June, and they've been practicing. But this past weekend, his roommates went home. He has 2 roommates, and one of them came back and tested positive because they test them twice a week. So he tested negative 3 times this week, and he came home. He's in New York now for 2 weeks. He has to leave for 14 days. The kids who, can't come home, don't have the means to get home, have to live in this like quarantine dorm, like it's 1918.
17.
I know, I said that on purpose. Hello? And right after the Spanish flu, a lot of soldiers in World War II died. I mean, that is just, come on.
There are no words. There are no
I know.
And
sad.
Never addresses it.
I know.
Not an oops. An oops would be fine. And of course, if he met World War I, he's still wrong. But,
right.
Oh dear, let's not get on to that. So, I haven't talked to you. I think it's been so long. I haven't talked to you since we lost Phyllis Diller.
I loved her. Did you love her?
I loved her so much. And she was such solace to me. We talked on the phone fairly often. And Phyllis was also a
concert pianist
and a hardcore atheist. Did you know? I mean, you may not know.
I love that.
How hardcore? I mean, she was really hardcore. So we talked about that very, very often. Do you know what she said to me that I still haven't processed? Bob Hope died. And as you know, Phyllis and Bob Hope were very good friends, very good friends. And Bob Hope died at 103? Was it 105? Yeah. Okay. So I called her up.
He died in 1918. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. He died over 100 years old. And he was so important to Phyllis. I called her up and said I was very sorry for her loss. And then I said, Jesus Christ, 103, motherfucker. And she said, Penn, we all lied about our age, all of us. I went, what? She said, well, that was the age he gave. I said, he was older? She said, yes.
No.
I went, what? And then she said heavily, we all lied about our age and covered it up. So when Phyllis died at 95, I went, what was she, 132?
Right. Wait, how old was Bob, you think? She never told you?
Never told me. She just talked to me like I was an idiot, which is the way she usually did.
Right.
That don't you know anything? You're believing what? Aren't you in show business, Penn?
Right.
Don't you know everybody lies about their age?
That is so amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. I get so, I wait for the next wave of feminism to deal with, with Phyllis and also with Joan, of course, and others, Minnie Pearl as real crusaders for feminism. You know,
you're not kidding.
There was that time when Miles Davis and so on said that Louis Armstrong was an Uncle Tom and didn't do that much for race stuff. And you had to go, well, yeah, he didn't do much for race for civil rights, except more than anyone else, except Martin Luther King.
Right.
And there was this movement with comedians who identified as female, dealing with Phyllis Diller and Joan Rivers as they played the female tropes and didn't really do this and put themselves down. And you wanted to go, yeah, they put themselves down because Bob Hope put himself down and he was the most successful comedian.
Right.
They were playing in the big leagues all the way. And the only reason you have Sarah Silverman, the only reason you have Tina Fey is Phyllis Diller, Joan Rivers, and the other, but there's 50 of them that I'm not going to name all of them, but Toady Fields.
Yeah. Moms Mabley.
Rusty Warren.
Yes.
But I really felt that that when the convoluted history of feminism is written in 50 years, and it's no longer a cause; it's just history.
Right.
That they will get their due, not especially, but also Joan Rivers.
Well, Joan, I have a whole chapter about her in the book because she was free speech. She was fearless. And I feel like in her 5 decades of doing stand-up, you knew exactly where women stood in society. And she never apologized for a joke, ever.
No. And when Gilbert had the trouble, first person, boom, with no qualifiers.
Right.
No, not like, well, he didn't know,
Right.
This is his job, he did it.
Right.
Boom. End of everything.
Right.
Yeah, I just loved Joan so much, and Joan and Phyllis were very important to me.
She's like my comedy mother. She's kind, classy, smart, but even in her death, that they wouldn't dim the lights, the Broadway League, that we had to fight. We had to have a petition. Meanwhile, this woman not only was nominated for a Tony and wrote a Broadway show, she attended every opening night. And yet you're not going to dim the lights for, everything was such a struggle with her.
And, even if you're a little bullshit show off Broadway, starting out, Joan shows up.
Always.
And supportive, and you could say anything to Joan.
Right. Anything. And she was humble. She was so humble. Mm-hmm. Except when I would say, Joan, you don't know what you've done for us. Oh, shut up. It was, I did nothing.
That was a good Joan, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Look, she died. I've known her since I can remember. Since I'm a little girl. I know her as long as my parents, and what a loss. And she was never more relevant than when she died at 82.
No, really, absolutely right there. And I wish I could remember. Because this would be such a source of pride. I did the Hollywood Squares with Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
And we were backstage, and I told her a joke. It was a joke that Provenza had told me to try to get everybody to walk out of his show. And I finished the joke, and Joan went, "Oh, that's a little out." And I wish I could remember what it was. Because
I want to know.
Getting Joan to breathe in was a very, very difficult task. I believe she inhaled 3 times in her life.
Wow.
And I was there for one of them. And I think it was a joke about AIDS. Mm-hmm. And it was at the time when you didn't want to joke about AIDS.
Right.
And it was hardcore. Right. And I was glad to get that kind of reaction from, which incidentally, she went and repeated it.
Oh, of course. Wait, do you think the Aristocrats would be as successful today as it was?
I don't know what you're referring to, the Aristocrats. Do you mean in England, the royalty?
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I was told.
Because I've never had anything to do with anything that had the word aristocrats.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Because I don't think it would do well now. I think those of us who aren't dead, our careers would be over.
But I know, it's unbelievable. I remember, I think a newspaper in Boston listed like the 5 most disturbing or filthy, and I was one of them. And my mother called me. Well, I hope you're proud of yourself. Is that what you want? I was like, kinda.
Okay, we're going to take a break from Judy Gold right now and tell you about Blinkist. With our ever-changing routines, there's never been a better time to learn something new. With thousands of options available, finding the best way to learn can be challenging. My recommendation is an app called Blinkist. Blinkist is unique and powerful. It works on your phone, your tablet, or your web browser. Blinkist gives you the best key takeaways, the need-to-know information from over 3,000 nonfiction bestsellers in over 27 categories. Blinkist condenses them down into blinks, which you can read or listen to in just about 15 minutes. For me, it's everything I'm going to remember from these books in a year anyway. And now Blinkist offers its members even more, including exclusive original podcasts from top authors and creative thinkers. You still get access to the entire Blinkist library with your membership, and now you can also dive deeper into full-length nonfiction audiobooks at a special discounted price. Over 14 million people use Blinkist to deepen their knowledge in topics spanning self-improvement, personal growth, management, leadership, and mindfulness, happiness, and more. I love it. When I use it when I'm practicing juggling, I use it when I'm driving. It gives me the main points of a book, everything I'm going to remember. I love it. And let me see what's coming up. I got a list of them here. Barefoot Investor, Scott Pape. Everything is Fucked, a book about hope. Sapiens, man, I love that book. A Brief History of Humankind. Becoming by Michelle Obama, which I'm going to listen to. Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Outgrowing God by my buddy Richard Dawkins. Hacking Darwin by Jamie Meltzel. And The Future of Capitalism, Paul Collier. The Threat by Andrew McCabe. The Way We Eat Now by B. Wilson. I love B. Wilson. Right now, Blinkist is a special office just for our audience. Go to Blinkist.com/Penn to start your free 7-day trial and get 25% off a Blinkist premium membership and up to 65% off audiobooks, which are yours to keep forever. That's Blinkist, spelled Blinkist, Blinkist.com/Penn, Penn, to get 25% off a premium membership and a 7-day free trial. Blinkist.com/Penn. And now back to Judy Gold, with us. Yeah, I just don't know. We started working on the Aristocrats 20 years ago last week.
Wow.
I was just talking to Gilbert because I don't even know if you know where the premise came from. The premise came from I was studying jazz and I was trying to learn improvisation on the upright bass. And I was talking to Provenza about what improvisation is.
Right.
That there's the rules, there's the form, there's the tradition, there's other people, there's your own tropes that you use, and then there's about 3% that is improvisation the way lay people use it.
Right.
When a sax player is playing improvisational line, they are using all of this stuff.
Right.
And the amount of stuff that they're playing sincerely for the first time is a very small amount.
Right, of course.
And I compared that to Gilbert Gottfried and said, if you look at Miles Davis, you look at Gilbert Gottfried, the improvisation is identical.
Right.
And Preven said, but that's hard to see. And I said, yes, because we hear jazz musicians play over the same changes. We never hear comedians tell the same joke.
Right.
And Preven said, let's do that. So it really was an intellectual exercise in comparing improvisation in comedy to improvisation in jazz.
Right.
And we wanted to pick the right joke, and that came and put the whole layer of transgressive comedy on top of it, which was the only fair way to play, because we couldn't say, you're going to do, Seinfeld's routine. You're going to do the Smothers Brothers,
But do you, I often equate music and comedy, especially jazz. And it's interesting because now when I think of the timing of that, you started this 20 years ago in 2000, that when Gilbert did the joke on the roast, so it was already in his head.
Yeah, we have lied. We lied about that in the movie. We presented that in the movie.
What?
As though Gilbert was on stage, tanked the joke, and then got the idea inspirational to tell the Aristocrats.
Right.
Truth of the matter is, Provenza and I spent about a year talking about it and sketching it out. And then we shot Gilbert 1st of September, 2001.
Wow.
When 9/11 happened, Gilbert called me and said he was doing the Hugh Hefner roast. I said, it's amazing they're holding it.
Right.
We talked about it. I said, you're going to address it. He told me the joke he's going to do. And I said, well, when you bomb, follow it with the Aristocrats.
Really?
And we laughed about that.
Love that. I love
And
it.
I said, that'll be really nice.
Yeah.
So now there was a reviewer from the Washington Post there who wrote it up. And then he wrote later, I was there when the idea for the Aristocrats popped up because Gilbert did it at the roast and Provenza and Penn got the idea. And artistically, the lie that tells the greater truth.
Right.
That is the way it needed to happen.
Right.
Because we needed to have it be a shocking thing followed by how the comedian deals with that.
Right.
So that became the story.
It was perfect. I mean, you couldn't ask for, that's amazing.
But it was, to a certain degree, manufactured.
Right.
Or manufactured, not the right word, it was nudged.
That's right. So it's the conspiracy theory now is that Penn arranged for the knocking down of the buildings in
9/11.
So that his joke.
Oh, I had the greatest conversation, and I'm going to be very careful about this. One of our advertisers on Penn Sunday School wanted to have one of their annual Zoom meetings with me, talking about the brand. Now I was going to say, I won't tell you who it is for obvious reasons. And, it was an advertising person, which means it was an intense go-getter woman in her 20s.
Humorless.
Talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, it turns out that the pandemic is actually pretty good for our product, but we didn't plan that. And I said to her, just for the record, I want you to know that I would have some moral problems if you had planned.
Right.
Just so the record says that, your speaking seemed to show no sense of that.
Right, right.
You actually seemed a little sad you hadn't planned it.
Right.
But I just want to tell you that if you had planned it, and if I had proof of that, I might hang up now.
Right. Did she laugh?
She kind of said, well, I didn't mean it that it was, I just meant for our brand.
Right.
I went, sure, for the brand, but I want to understand that there is a bigger thinking outside of the brand.
I mean, I like the money, but I'm going to have to, draw the line there. Yeah. That is hilarious.
So I will say the same thing about 9/11. We didn't plan it.
Right.
But then it was good for our movie.
Right.
Now, 20 years after the fact, any regrets to giving away the punchline in the title of the
movie? There's one story about this. For those of us who cast our mind back on the Aristocrats. It is an entirely talking heads movie. It is what old showbiz would call a rug show. It never breathes. It never goes outside. It is almost always one single person talking direct to camera, telling filthy jokes. 4 minutes in, George Carlin comes on screen, and he holds down the fort philosophically and filthily for about 6 minutes. Then it bounces around more. But George kind of lays it out. He's not the first one on screen. There's 3 before him. But of course, Carlin lays it out. We got a report back from a San Diego AMC theater that a grandmother took her 3 children to see the movie.
Her 3 children or grandchildren?
Her 3 grandchildren.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm sorry, that's important. She took her 3 grandchildren to see the movie. 25 minutes later.
No.
25 minutes later, she walked out and said to the usher, "This is not the Disney The Aristocrats."
25 minutes. Oh my God, that's why Trump is president. Yeah.
And he said, "It's not animated," which is, I think, the most important thing to say. Never mind, you weren't listening to the words, but it wasn't animated. It was not. There were also no cats. A marked absence of cats. No cats, no cartoons. And she wasn't really complaining, "This is horrible." She was just not the movie we went to see. So God bless her. She could have thrown a.
That grandkid now has a Netflix special.
Yeah, right. That's hilarious.
Must have been like the best thing that ever happened to me was my grandmother took me to see the Aristocrats. Aristocrats, I mean, at 9 years old.
And ever since then, my whole life has been George Carlin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could easily be that way. Yeah, the Aristocrats are fading away. Many people are in there and are now dead. So it's a sad thing. Time.
Could be time for Aristocrats too.
Yeah. So you are doing your book is out.
Yes.
Which you should say the title of again.
Yes, I can say that. When they come for the comedians, we're all in trouble.
And I bet that's available wherever books are sold.
It really is. And the audiobook is also available, which was new and noteworthy in the New York Times Book Review. So that's good.
Did you read it?
I did. Yeah, I did it.
I ask you that because Adam Carolla does not read his audiobooks. Do you know this?
Why?
Well, Adam Carolla, I don't think he'd mind me saying this. Adam Carolla's not good at reading. He's not good at reading to himself, and he's not good at reading out loud.
But it's his writing. That's so interesting.
So what he does is someone tells him what the chapter was about, and then he riffs on it.
No.
So his audiobooks do not overlap the written books.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
They're kind of the same subjects and whatever he kind of remembers.
It's basically a director's cut of his thing. He's just narrating it as a DVD feature.
And when I was doing my my audiobook with Ready Rich of Presto, and the hard words are in there, and the difficult, clever sentences, I was thinking, I could just Adam Carolla this.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, when you're trying, to pronounce hegemony for the 4th time, you could just riff on it.
Yeah.
You wrote it.
I was saying to the director if I want to add something in, and he was pretty good about it, but the publisher really wants it to be verbatim.
Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to jump around again here since we're talking about your career. With this whole issue that we're talking about, you were so important to the Roseanne show.
The Rosie O'Donnell, not Roseanne.
I just said Roseanne, right? Rosie O'Donnell show.
She's in the book, Roseanne.
Yeah.
Take 2.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk to you about Roseanne on the other side being what happened to her with her show coming back on.
Yeah.
And her racist tweets and how that was reacted. Since that's outside of where you want to be, I'd love to hear you talk about that.
Well, it is another example of you're working for a network and you are taking the money, you sign this contract, you might not want to tweet one of the most racist things ever tweeted. But it's also that all right, so you look at Judy Shineland, Judge Judy, who basically said to the network, give me this much money or you don't get a show because the show's me. The show is me. There's no show without me. And you realize now that the Connors is actually doing well, that she, as indispensable as you think you are, maybe not so much.
A graveyard is full of irreplaceable people.
Right.
And she probably still gets money. I mean, obviously she still gets money.
Right.
So everybody wins.
I mean,
racist tweet got out there. And
I mean, that was pretty bad. Don't you think?
Yeah, I do think so.
Yeah.
I do think so. But to play devil's advocate here a little bit, she is a comedian.
Right.
And there is context for that.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know what side we're on there.
I mean, she was always, in the very beginning, pushing the envelope and brash and saying, people were like, oh, I can't believe she's saying that, which now we're like, okay, she's a domestic goddess. She doesn't want to do the dish, But, that was, I mean, you're working for a network. I mean, it's not on cable. And you pissed off your head writer. I mean, even the staff was, Wanda was like, forget it. I'm done.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is, this is a chance for us to see it from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Because if her tweet had been something that politically you and I agreed with,
right?
And would we make the same argument she's working for the network? She lost her head writer? Or would we be saying right on?
I know. I think about that all the time. Because I do believe...
Roseanne's a hard one for me.
Right.
It's really hard for me.
I do believe in free speech no matter who it's coming from and no matter what it is. I don't think you should ever curb it. But I do take that into consideration. I try. So maybe there's a little schadenfreude, I guess, with the other side, but I still believe they have the right to.
I believe they have the legal right.
Yeah.
I don't think we're arguing legal right.
Right.
But the thing is, if Joan Rivers say she's a comedian, she's supposed to stir things up, what she was doing was not funny to me, but a comedic image.
Right.
Kind of seems to follow every rule we've talked about here.
Right.
Person who's a lifetime comedian, person who is known for pushing the envelope, person who is tweeting something that is not literal.
But I don't think, well, yeah, I was just going to say it wasn't really a joke, but in her mind, when she tweeted it, it was a joke.
And then many people will say that what Gilbert said wasn't jokes.
Right.
I think it's a tough one.
It is. It's a slippery slope.
And it's where we needed Joan.
Right.
I want Joan's wisdom on this.
I've often, and I wrote this in the book, feel that, I mean, so many people say to me, I wish Joan was around so I could hear her take on what's going on in the world. But she was a big fan of Trump's and his friend. And I looked at old interviews and she was like, he should be president. He's very smart. And so in a way, I feel like it was divine intervention that she died when she did. But I know you believe in divine intervention, Penn. But
I do.
But I said to her, I called her niece and I said, what do you think she would have thought? Because, Trump really helped her with her career. She won a Celebrity Apprentice. And she said she would not have be able to get past the kids in cages.
I did not know Joan as well as you did, but I did 2 tours of duty on Celebrity Apprentice.
Right. Yes.
And that allowed, there was a lot of talking about me that Trump did to Joan.
Really?
A tremendous amount. And Joan was very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And Joan, there is no harm in this now. Joan violated Trump's trust to talk to me because she was fairly appalled.
Wow.
Now,
I love her for that. Yeah.
the conversation was not political, but the conversation had to do with his insecurities.
Oh.
The conversation had to do with his cruelty, with his absence of a sense of humor, with no sense of music, because you remember, Joan and I were not talking about someone who would be president of the United States.
Right.
We were talking about a coworker.
Right.
And as a coworker, there was a lot to say bad about him, but for someone to have no filter and be mentally ill was actually very good for a reality show.
Right.
We both know that.
Okay. I have a question for you, but go ahead.
So Joan's feelings about Trump do not include that he was smart, compassionate, or knowledgeable.
Right.
Now, I obviously, I want to make sure I don't overstep my real knowledge here. She could have changed, thought he was smart, thought he'd learned stuff, could have been pro-Trump. But at the time, our conversations were appalled by him as a human being.
I have 2 questions for you. One, I would think he would be incredibly intimidated by you, by your street smarts, by your appearance, your stature, by your intelligence.
There were all of those problems and more.
I bet.
My favorite moment, I've told this before, but I'm going to tell it again because it's so funny. When we did the Today Show with the cast, I was a finalist. So in the seating arrangement, I was close to Trump.
Right.
So the whole cast was entering, I believe, stage right. And Trump and I were entering stage left. And there was no backstage that side. So we were standing in this little entryway, out of sight of the audience, out of sight of the cameras, but close together.
Right.
So we were in a closet together, the two of us. And we were standing with his face this close to my face. And I was taller than him.
Yeah!
By quite a bit.
By a lot, yeah.
And he said nothing, and then looked up and said, you're taller than me. And I said, yes, and I have a lot of fucking money. And they said, ladies and gentlemen,
oh my God, that is my favorite story of all time. I love it. Okay, I have a question. Not 2. This is 2. Do you think Mark Burnett should give up those Apprentice tapes where he is spewing racial epithets?
Well, here's what, I did an interview where I refused to say that I heard Donald Trump use the N-word. I said that there were appalling things that I saw and there were racist things that I saw that I wasn't at liberty to tell because it was not my story.
Right.
It was another cast member, and I'm not going to tell a story about an African-American cast member
Right.
from my position.
Right.
That's not my right.
Right.
So I wouldn't tell the story, but I said there were many things that made me very uncomfortable. And then Colbert and a lot of other people said, they attacked me really badly and said, oh, Penn Jillette can't remember the N-word. As though, oh, what we're waiting for to get rid of Trump is for a Las Vegas magician to say that
Right.
he heard Trump say
Right.
the N-word. So my belief about those tapes is if you do not have enough information about Trump's dereliction of duty and his essential lack of empathy, love, trust, and concern with what you have now, those tapes will not help you.
Right.
And
But they would have. Do you think they would have had an impact 3.5 years ago?
I think they might have rallied the people that, I mean, it's possible that the people that he's, they wanted to elect a pig
Right.
as a performance art.
Right.
It's exactly like the Yippies wanting to elect Pegasus in 1968.
Right.
When you are sending someone into an elected office in order to say, fuck you, it's hard for them to fuck up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And Burnett has such trouble with me anyway, I wore a guitar strap to play country western music that said there is no God on it.
And he's like a religious fanatic, right? He's a
Yeah.
born again.
Is there a stronger word than fanatic?
Oh. And you would
yes.
think that that's what I can't stand religion is because you're acting like you're so pious and yet you're backing this heartless pig.
Yes.
Thank
But
you.
I want to say, if you were impressed with me backstage at the Today Show, you need to know that when the New York Times published Trump's hate list of going through their tweets and personal conversations, the people he hated most in the world, at the time they printed it, which is before he was elected, or kind of elected, I was number 7.
Wow, Mazel Tov.
And I was above Hillary Clinton.
Wow.
But I was below Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, God. You know what? I have to say, I loved you before, but now it's like, I can't. I'm going to switch over. I can't.
I think I would say you should practice sucking cock.
Okay.
That's my advice.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's like riding a bicycle or walking in heel. I mean, sorry. What other?
Oh, that's funny.
So, yeah, I wanted. I spend a lot of time on the Zen koan of Rosie O'Donnell's tweets because when do you defect from your compassionate team to go to the free speech team?
Right.
Rosie or Roseanne?
Roseanne, you mean?
Roseanne.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Woman begins with R. That's all I've got.
Yeah.
The Roseanne thing is really hard for me. It's really, really difficult. And I got to tell you that when they talk about flagging stuff on Facebook and Twitter, that doesn't feel right to me either.
Right. Well, one of the chapters titles of my book is "Fuck You, Mark Zuckerberg." So, just want to say.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I might be on his side.
Yeah. Really?
I might be.
Mm.
I mean, that's the free speech absolutist.
Right.
I might be on his side.
Wow.
But I think no one should be on Facebook.
Right.
But it's his place.
I get it.
And there should be. See, I still believe that the solution to bad speech is more speech.
Isn't flagging a form of more speech?
Yes. That's the problem.
When you've got the guy who's standing on the soapbox with his cardboard cutout placard, you could look at him and figure out what he's all about in an instant.
Right.
But when he's online and he could pick his own avatar, isn't flagging a way to help us with that?
It's when the Westboro Baptist Church had their horrible, horrible demonstrations. The most important person in all that was the guy holding a sign next to him with an arrow that said, "This guy's an asshole."
Right.
Right. And I think that's actually like the hard part about your free speech, more speech argument is like, oh, that requires more from me. I have to talk more. I think like I want a gatekeeper, I guess, sometimes, because I don't want to put the fight in.
I must clarify that my "fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg" is your take, not the take of "fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg." It's about social media in general and what we've been talking about. But it's just, it is exactly right. Why are you on Facebook?
But I think we just need to learn. It's also, everybody's so freaked out about deep fakes. Mm-hmm. And I'm all for them because 150 years ago, if somebody quoted a speech or quoted an action, you had to find out if it was true.
Right.
You couldn't just take that.
Right.
And now you have to do that again. So now if there's a deep fake that says stuff you know isn't true, you have to research it. And I think that's actually a very good thing. And I will tell you another very, very funny thing. For Fool Us last year, some very heavy tech people used everything that I'd said that they could find. And they put together a library, and they made it so one of the people who was on Fool Us doing a magic trick was able to have me say things in voiceover thinking that I had never said.
Right.
They set up a deep fake library so that they could make me say anything. And they demoed it backstage to me with things that I was sure I had never said. Like, that clown of the refrigerator is Henry Kissinger. And showed it to me. And then said very, very self-righteously, "We will give this to nobody. We will not let anybody else have this. This is your privacy. But if you want to have it, you can have it to use any way you want." And I went, "So you're giving me the power to say I am the only person that's no use to?"
Right.
And they said, "Well, you can type in anything and then you'll just say it." I said, "Right, but I could also cut out everything and just say it."
Right.
So
stupid people are. People are so fucking stupid. Yeah, it's fine.
Anyway, Judy Gold, I love you.
I love you. I
miss doing reality shows with you.
I know.
We had such fun doing those.
I know.
And I miss being around you.
Same.
And I miss doing live shows. And I'm sure that Provincetown is even a better place because you've got the Judy Gold show coming out.
Oh, thank you, Penn.
And it's hard to make Provincetown a better place. It's
I
a
know.
pretty good place.
Pretty damn good, yeah.
Yeah. And I went there before it was okay.
Yeah.
For people who looked like me to go there.
Yeah.
Although I was there Bear Week, so it was kind of okay.
Oh, yeah.
And buy your book. And that was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha.
And to our listening ears,
You become naked.
nature sang and round us rang the music of the speech.
Yeah, are you going to go through and fix where I do Roseanne and Rosie wrong? Or you're just going to let me suffer there?
I don't know. Are you going to give me that tool or not?
I think leave it the way it is. It's fun. Judy corrects me so emphatically. It's nice.
How long you been in show business? Say the name of the book, assholes.
We did.
Again, now.
Say the name of your book again.
Yes, I can say that. When they come for the comedians, we're all in trouble.
By Judy Gold.